Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Every Day is Friday, the show where we dive into the stories and experiences of people from all walks of life. Today, we are joined by Nikki, a business consultant, career coach, and financial expert who's turned her childhood challenges into success. She's here to share her journey, business tips, and advice on growth. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited to have you on. Now, for the listeners who may not be familiar with your line of work yet, could you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do and why you do it?
Sure. So I have a big umbrella of business consulting, right? So I have my own company. We do hair and makeup for weddings. We travel to you. Everything is mobile. I don't have a salon, and I've had this business for over 10 years now. I'm from New York originally, and I moved down to South Florida during COVID. Like a lot of people moved down south. So I run that company. And then one of my clients is a big gentleman's groomers. It's a really upscale men's salon that I manage. It's in the Boca Raton Resort down in Boca Raton, sunny and beautiful down here. And I have some other clients as well in different industries. But I've been in the beauty industry for over 25 years. And now the past few years, I've been doing more consulting, expanding my business coaching as well. So a lot of one-on-one, that's where I work best. I love one-on-ones, maximizing profits for business owners, making them feel less stressed, balancing the personal and work life. That's a big thing for people, especially lately. I'm doing a lot in finance and helping people make more money and keeping their money in this crazy economy that we have going on. So make more money, keeping the money that they worked for, and just helping everyone.
That's great. Now, what inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
Well, so the funny thing is my plan was to always help people because I went to school for education, special education, and I was helping people in that way, right? But I always had the business background. So after I graduated, which like a lot of people in my generation, we graduated from college, but no one's using their degree. I had a business background. So I said, why not open up my own business? And that's what I did. I liked the whole more spontaneous feel of it, growing, building my brand. I'm super motivated, super dedicated. And even in my free time, I'm always trying to learn and grow, go to conventions and really cool workshops and things. So I started my own beauty business. And then as time went on, I went into different industries and different fields that I bought businesses and then kind of fixed them and flipped them and make some money. And so my hands were in a lot of different industries, but business in general, I feel like any type of successful business template would work well in any type of business. So that's what I kind of used. And my inspiration comes from my motivation from my childhood. When I was young, I had a rough childhood. And that always like figuring it out, like, okay, I have to just move forward and figure it out and make it work. So I've always had that. And I've always been dedicated to my projects that I'm doing. And I always wanted more and wanted to get better. So I feel like that really helped me be motivated.
I feel like a lot of listeners out there resonate with you on that. Now, what is something significant from your childhood that shaped you into who you are today?
So I went through the foster care system and I was adopted at an older age. A lot of adoptions take place when the children are young or babies or something like that. But I was 11 years old. So I knew my story. I knew what happened. Um, you know, I learned from it. I'm very grateful, right? So that's a whole big story there. But the thing is that I was a young teen, right? I was a young adult. So I always say if my 10-year-old self could see me now, they would be very proud because growing up in that environment is tough. It's not easy. And I'm very thankful to be as successful and motivated as I am today.
Yeah, that's very powerful. I mean, early experiences shape so much of our lives. I mean, how did growing up in a foster care impact your view on the world?
It's crazy because when you're young, those ages are the developmental ages are so important in a child's life, right? And it really shapes you. And it's that whole nature versus nurture. It's like, are you born with certain things or is it in your environment? I think it's a mix of both. I'm kind of the scientific experiment that's living, that could say it's both, right? Um, Also depends like families, right? Siblings. Some siblings have certain things and some don't. They could grow up in the same exact way. But for me, I always felt like it was always in me to have a drive to be more positive, to look on the brighter side, just and think, okay, I'm grateful for what happened to me, and I take that as a lesson and I keep it moving. But I mean, now I could say that now, right? But in the moment, it's not as easy. Not as easy. You're young and you really don't know. You're just listening to what these adults are telling you, and sometimes they're not even telling you anything. So you're just, I was definitely more shy when I was younger and um, more introverted, but now I'm extroverted. Now I'm out and about. Yeah,
No, that's truly inspiring. I mean, were there any like people in your childhood that made a big impact on you?
that's a good question. Um, well, so when I was in foster care, the foster family I was living with, I was close to I had a foster sister who was older and she kind of like took me under her wing a little bit and I spent time with her and hung out with her and like she showed me a lot of you know, more inspirational things and she was nice to me and I got along with her. So that helped. And then I had certain things with like other people in my family that we had some visitations and things. Um, but a lot of it is on your own. You're on your own, really. I turned to music and sports, and I was like really active, and I was involved in soccer and sports in school. I always did well in school and things like that. So it's kind of just you're just putting it like mentally, you have to just bury it and then try to blossom something positive out of it. So I put it into sports and music and things like that.
That's truly powerful. I mean, what
Yeah,
what lessons did you learn from your childhood that you carry with you today?
I think a lot, a lot of, a lot of things, like I've said, that I've kind of been saying that I've met people in the system or people that were adopted foster care that had it way worse than me, even though, someone would say, wow, Nikki, I'm so sorry. Like, that's so horrible. But at the end of the day, I was adopted into a good home, right? And so there are so many kids that don't come out of that. They're stuck in the system or, people are still living in those situations, right? So I feel lucky I was taken out of it. Um, so I always looked at it like people had it worse than I did. So I always tried to be positive with it. Like I said, in the moment, it's hard, right? And you see you're young and you kind of want to just do what your friends are doing and your friends have this and your friends have this perfect family and your friends have all these things. And, you know, I, I didn't have clothes. I didn't have food. I didn't have certain things. Now I'm more, you know what? I deserve that. And I work hard and I like nice things and drive nice cars and buy expensive things because I didn't have that when I was younger. Right. So definitely, I think sometimes I treat myself a lot because of that. I'll say, okay, I deserve that. And I work hard for it. And I enjoy it now because back then I didn't really have.
No, thank you so much for diving into your journey like you are. I mean, how did you turn your struggles into motivation for success?
I think, really it's just using it as a lesson and you had to grow up really fast. You had to mature, right? You were being eight, I was 8 years old when I was taken away and brought into foster care and then separated from my brothers as well, because I had biological brothers, but we were separated. So I was on my own. and you've had a lot of responsibility. You had to grow up. You had to kind of learn the hard way, right? Um, so I become a little independent in that way because I had to grow up. So I use those struggles. Also, I'm not a mom yet. But if and when I become a mom, I for sure will be a great mom because I didn't have the parents and I didn't have that when I was young. So I know it made me a better person today because I appreciate the friendships and relationships and family. So
No, it takes true strength. And I mean, I believe that everyone in life is dealt a different hand. And
yeah.
your hand was just dealt different than everyone else's, and you pushed through. I mean, what advice would you give to someone going through tough times right now?
My advice would be to not give up and really stay motivated. And if there's something that you really want to pursue, you have to work hard for it. You know, people think that luck is something that they're lucky to have this, they're lucky to have that. But no, it takes a lot of hard work, and determination. And you have to keep your eye on the prize. You know, I mentor young adults and girls that are between the ages of 10 to 15. And so I tell them the same thing, you know, it takes a lot of hard work, and I mentor them because that was me back then, right? So it's nice to kind of give back and come full circle with that. I do a lot of volunteer and fundraising and mentoring.
No, that's great advice. I like to say that luck is being prepared for the opportunity. The opportunity is there all the time. I mean, hard times can be like stepping stones for something greater.
Yes, absolutely. It's about the stepping stones for sure. Just like my career, my business, it's the stepping stones. Like you build more and more and more. You know, I was creating a business. Now I'm helping people build their businesses. So I see a lot of younger people. It's great to circle back and be with the younger people and tell them, you can do it, guys. Just, you know, stay motivated. And those obstacles make you stronger, honestly, because I went through so much in my past that I feel like I could get through this. This is easy for me. Like, this is nothing, you know? So it helps me with my obstacles.
Yeah, what's a big lesson you've learned about overcoming obstacles?
I think it would be that, you know, no obstacle is too big. You can always make it work. You will always find a way. I think some people just feel sorry for themselves. They make excuses. And to be honest, why are you making excuses for yourself? You can always find a way to do it. We have the freedom to find a way and to work hard and get what you want. So
No,
yeah.
I love that. Now, is there like a quote or like a saying that keeps you motivated?
I do my affirmations, you know, I do my daily affirmations, or even just, you know, I'll be driving in the car and I'm doing my affirmations and staying positive. And for me, like I said, I want a certain life. I like nice things. I like to give back to the community. So that helps me going. I do a lot of fundraising and, like I said, mentoring. So I live a beautiful life, and I'm very lucky and I'm very blessed. So that helps me every day.
No, yeah, it's great to have something to hold on to, and like words are so powerful. I mean, how did you start your business coaching and consulting?
I started because it's funny because I've always had people approaching me, Nikki, can you help me with this? You know, whether it's they're starting up their business and I need help with this, I need help with that. I was doing it already, right? And one of my good friends who I opened up my beauty business with, she said, Nikki, why don't you be a consultant or a coach? Because I have the education background. I have the business background, right? Operations, management, all of that. So she said, you need to get into this because you help everybody all the time. So I got into it, and I have a lot of referrals through people I know and through people that I've helped in the past, and they refer me. And so it's great. I love it. It's really rewarding.
Now, what's one of the most common mistakes people make when starting a business?
I think one of the most common would be that people want everything in the moment and they don't realize that it takes time, and your time will come and you have to stay dedicated. People want it right away. And, even with social media, they want 1,000 likes right away. And it takes time. You have to be persistent, dedicated, and it will come through.
For like a listener out there, I mean, what are some of the first steps someone should take if they want to like start their business?
Well, I think in the very beginning, they have to decide what is it that they really want to do and what's your why, what's your purpose. Because people say, oh, well, I like doing so-and-so, so I'll make a business out of it. But you have to really sit down and organize your thoughts and see what's your why, what's your purpose, and is it something realistic or not? Everything, like I said, takes time. So if you don't see it right away, that's okay. You can build into it and have people in your corner for you. Surround yourself with people that are like-minded, because people will always tell you can't do it. Your friends and family will say, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to.
Yeah, it's always helpful to break it down and figure out what your why is really basically.
Absolutely.
And I mean, how important is having like a mentor when starting a business?
Mm-hmm.
How important is having a mentor when you're starting a business or chasing after your dreams?
Having a mentor is important. I'm a coach, so I will always say statistically, businesses are more successful when they have a coach or a mentor, because how are you supposed to know everything, right? You don't know everything. So you learn by experience. So having someone that has experience in business industry, just in life in general, it helps. Whether it's a mentor that is in the business or isn't, but like I said, having people on your corner and surrounding yourself with positive people, it helps a lot.
And if you're looking for one, all Nikki's information will be down in the description down below. Now, how do you help people grow their businesses?
So I help them because I have basically training packages where we talk about like I said, what your purpose is, what's your why, what are your goals, what are you trying to achieve, what are things that you've done in the past, maybe that is working, that isn't working. You have to fix things if it's not working for you. A lot of it is the coaching, a lot of it is accountability, right? Because some people say, I know what to do, I know I should do this, but they're not doing it. Just like a personal trainer, right? And people say, I know I shouldn't eat McDonald's and ice cream and I should be in the gym 5 times a week, but do people do it? No, because if they don't have a personal trainer for accountability, they're not going to do it. So business is the same. It's the same thing for business coaching, to keep you accountable and check in with you and keep you on the right track, give you advice.
What do you think the one thing a struggling business owner should focus on first?
That's a good question. To focus on first, I think, well, of course, the main thing would be your goal. What are you really trying to achieve? Because people have superficial goals, right? But what's your main goal? Where do you see yourself in 1 month? Where do you see yourself in 6 months? Where do you see yourself in 2 years and then 20 years? And you want to do something that's going to be consistent for you, because you don't want a quick fix and something that's going to be helping you right away. You need this to be sustainable. So that's the first start.
No, it's definitely a good start. And now, what are some of the key traits of a successful business?
Well, people could describe success in many ways, but to keep it very mathematically, you want to have your profits and your losses at certain points. You want to be able to show that you're making money, because some people say, I'm a business owner, but they're negative or they're not making money, right? So success can be measured in many things, but in the very typical way, it would be you want to be making a certain amount of money. Like I said, we could talk about the goals, how much you want to make, and other things as well as having a great staff and your team and hiring and or volunteer, you're doing stuff for the community, that it goes beyond. So
I believe money management can make or break a business. Now, why is financial education so important for business owners?
it's all about the financial literacy, right? So a lot of us weren't taught things. In school, unfortunately, they don't teach us a lot about credit score, savings, banking, mortgages, things like that. So people kind of learn the hard way. And it's so important because, so like in the salon industry, similar to a restaurant, you could gross millions and millions of dollars. But if it's not managed the correct way, you can close up your shop right away. And that happens in the salon world, right? So that's why I enjoy helping salon owners specifically, because you can make great money, but it really has to be managed correctly. Because there are a lot of salons that they open and then they close, unfortunately, right away.
No, I can see that happening with a lot of businesses out there. Now, what's one of the biggest financial tips for entrepreneurs you have?
There are many of them. Definitely have a financial advisor by your side. I think a lot of people try to do everything at once, but it takes a team. It takes a few people to really help you. Doing everything all at once, you're going to get overwhelmed, and you don't become successful like that. So.
No, that can be a game changer for anyone wanting to build wealth out there.
Yes.
Now, how can someone budget better and manage their money, wisely? Is it just keeping track of what they're purchasing and what they're buying and how they're making products?
Of course, like I said, it goes into a lot of the mathematical, statistics, what you're supposed to be gross and net, and your profit, your margins, things like that. Definitely budgeting. Like I said, that's why it's good to have people in your corner, the accountant or the finance person, because you have to make sure you're not overspending, underspending. You want good quality products. You want your services to be good quality. So it's definitely important.
Nikki, I got to ask you, what inspired you to start your own hair and makeup business?
Always was passionate about the beauty industry. My family had salons back in the day. So I did kind of, my adopted family had salons. So I kind of, grew up in that atmosphere. And I do really well with clients. So it just kind of happened like that. As I was going to school for education, I was still working in the beauty industry. So I always had the passion for it.
It's beautiful. I mean, what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned with running a business for over like 10 years?
The biggest lesson, well, for the beauty industry, for me, it's rewarding because I work with a lot of, let's say, women in the past, doing hair and makeup and making them feel beautiful. It's all about being confident in your own skin and being confident in who you are, beautiful on the inside and the outside. And it's really true. And it's very rewarding seeing women have confidence after I do their hair or makeup. So it's nice to be a part of.
You definitely have passion. I mean, passion makes all the difference in any business. I mean, what's your favorite part about working in the beauty industry?
Well, it is very glamorous, and I'm in some of the most expensive hotels and the biggest events and everything. There's the glamorous side, and I travel to destination weddings. But definitely the biggest thing is that it's most rewarding to meet people. I've met a lot of people in my past, and to hear everyone's story and share stories, and I become friends with all of my clients. So,
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful building connections, just building your business and getting, connections from all the way around the world and all the way around the country and everywhere you go. I mean, what advice would you give to someone wanting to start their own beauty business?
I think it's about location and knowing your services and what you have to offer. You want to be in the correct location. You want to make sure you know your services that are best. And You want to be able to bring value to your clients.
I think that's so helpful. I know many people dream of working in the beauty industry. So, Nikki, why is giving back so important to you?
Giving back is super important because, like I said, for me, I was that person that needed someone. I was that person that needed the time, the love, all of that, right? So for me, it's about coming full circle and giving back to the community, and especially to the kids and the young adults that really need it.
Now, Nikki, what's next for you in your journey?
Well, I love the fact that my journey is always changing and always evolving. That's something that I do enjoy, right? I'm learning and growing and still going with my journey. So I'm just expanding my business right now and still giving back to the community.
That's great. I mean, where do you see yourself for the next 5 years?
Well, I see myself growing with my business consulting and, of course, going back and forth, New York and South Florida. But I do travel a lot. So I would love to be a part of helping people more and really helping them learn and to grow their business, but also their personal life and to grow in general.
Now, what advice would you have to some people out there chasing their dreams?
Don't give up. Stay motivated and put in the hard work. Like I said, it's not about luck. It's about hard work, dedication, diligence, and no obstacle is too small. Honestly, you will succeed and you will get through it.
That's powerful. And all your information will be down in the description down below. But where can people connect with you and learn more?
So Instagram is the best. It's at Nikki Cast MGMT. I'm always uploading. I'm always answering my DMs. I always have a lot of questions and I appreciate all the support.
Now, for the listeners out there, is there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
No, I think you guys can always reach out to me. I'm helping people all the time. People ask me questions, whether it's about work or their career, their business, personal life. When you're a business coach, you're really coaching everything, every aspect of life. So any questions, don't hesitate to reach out or even just send a hello. I'm here.
Nikki, your journey is truly inspiring, from overcoming obstacles to helping people succeed. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, for the listeners, make sure to connect with her and stay tuned for more amazing stories on Every Day is Friday Podcast 365. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Until next time, everybody.